It seems like it's been 40 weeks since you got 40 winks. Your back pain? Unbearable. Tossing, turning, trying to find that pain-free position. And that's the moment you realize you can't spend another waking moment putting off treatment.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for spine care, with a ton of surgical and non-surgical treatments for back pain. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better, the Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Hello there, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I am Amanda Valentine, and let's cover a fun topic today, shall we? Depression. Surrounded by little sparkle emojis. So I can imagine if you're listening to this, you already know you're in for a heavy topic, and also just, trigger warnings of talking about, serious things here. Again, I am no expert in this arena at all. I am just sharing my own personal experience. And hopefully that's helpful for others. And if you have listened to my episode, A New Chapter, you kind of already know that I have been struggling with depression this year. And I'm planning on hopefully not crying in this episode because I'm having a good day. Today is a good day. So I'm going to try to keep it on the lighter side. So I have been on antidepressants for a few weeks now, and I feel like that's super helpful. But let me back up the train here, and kind of just talk about where I've been, which I did mention this in that other episode, A New Chapter. That I don't know. This year has just kind of been crazy for everybody, and it feels like it just really kind of wore me down for multiple reasons. I never knew how I would handle a global pandemic, and how many of us knew that how we were going to handle this year. And I know so many people are having a really rough time. And I just think that it's so important to admit that and get help in any way you can. I feel like I'm coming from a place of privilege and being incredibly lucky to be in a place this year where I could hire a therapist, and kind of walk through some things. I think a lot of that helped trigger to get to the point I am now, because I've unearthed a lot of really difficult things for me that I've never fully dealt with before, which I feel like really kind of set the stage and kind of getting myself in a very vulnerable place to deal with this pandemic and everything going on in my life. And I feel like I mentioned this in that other episode too, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I feel like I've kind of dealt with on and off depression of certain degrees for a lot of my life. I have, some disordered eating. A lot of this stuff is very rooted in childhood and some stuff that happened to me as a kid, and that, I've dealt with those things the way that I can. I will say again, trigger warning, I've, had thoughts of suicide on and off throughout my whole life. And then, man, just a few months this year, things just got really dark for me. And I can say that now, having a good day where I feel like things are a little bit lighter and brighter, but it's something I have never experienced before, of just such a dark place of the color being drained out of everything. The things that I love, I don't have any love for them anymore. And it's just like eating food, it has no taste anymore, and just crying every day and just for no reason, and being down and not even want to getting out of bed or my pajamas, just this who is this person? This feels so incredibly unlike me. And it's been really difficult, but I will say that I am just beyond blessed in every way of so many supportive people in my life. Now, this makes me want to cry. So many people that have reached out to me specifically after that podcast episode. And thank you to every single person that reached out to me and mentioned how that episode either affected you talking about this, or, just to be like, hey, I'm here if you need to talk. And just so many incredibly supportive people. And it just makes my heart want to burst. And so that's been really amazing. And I think it's just such a good example, as if you're dealing with something similar and you're having a really dark year too, of put some light on it, ask for help, put it out there, because people are there. Maybe not everybody, it depends on, I guess, what your crew is at the moment, but people care and people will step up and want to help you. And you think that you have to carry it all on your own. You feel like you're weak or you suck if you don't. And it's not true. And that is so much of the narrative I have built in my life with my experience of I'm fiercely independent and I have to be able to do it on my own. Something goes bad, well, you figure out a solution. You dust yourself off, here we go. And I have been doing that my whole life. And there's a lot of moments I'm incredibly proud of, facing adversity and really, being kicked down and getting back up. And that's what was so horrifying for me, going through this depression this year, is that I couldn't do that anymore. I just it's weird. It's like, it was like I was handcuffed of like, I'm so used to like, yeah, this gets kicked down. This sucks. But like, all right, let's get to work on solutions. And I just couldn't. It's like, I feel like the universe is telling me like, you got to get help from someone else. Like you can't do this one on your own. And, it gets heavy when you put all the responsibility on yourself always to fix everything. And it's like, for me, it's worked for me a lot and my whole life. And, certain things, you just have to ease into it and lean into the people around you and ask for help. And if you don't have anyone in your life at all that you feel like you can go to for help, I think that's also a wake-up call of maybe that might be part of the reason you're feeling that way. Because I felt that way before, of just like, this is impossible. And I just felt like no one was around or nobody that could help. And so I really wish that getting help with mental health was not so effing expensive and unattainable for so many people. And it has been for most of my life. That's nothing I could ever afford. And so it's, I'm not going to lie, it is expensive. I went to my primary care physician a few weeks ago to do some blood work, which some really interesting results from that. But I had to fill out a survey of like where my mental health was. And he's like, oh, I'm like, already my therapist is like, you're going to need to go on some medication. You're beyond the point right now. And I don't like pills. I don't want to, this is something I've never done before. And I'm like, I will definitely consider it. I went to my primary care physician, not even for this topic. And after talking to my doctor at the Christ Hospital, he's like, things that help with depression. And he's like, seeing a therapist. I'm like, check. He's like, meditation. I'm like, I've been doing guided meditations every day. Exercise. I'm like, I've been doing Pilates at Pilates. And I'm like, I love it. And it's great for my body. And he's like, okay, you're checking all the boxes here. And I'm still feeling this way. And he's like, I will also recommend that you go on some sort of medication. And we talked about that. And I already had a meeting with a psychiatrist that my therapist suggested, and, had a meeting with them too. And they're like, yeah, you're going to have to do this. All of this is not cheap. I'm like, oh my God, but it's like, but can you afford not to if you're in a bad place? And then it's such a war with myself of so many people are going through so many worse things from me right now. And I feel like, why am I so hung up on my own problems? My problems are so insignificant for so many other people. I'm in such a great place. I mean, I have so much to be grateful for. And that's where I'm just being mean to myself, where it's like, I'm like, your stuff don't mean crap. Other people got real problems. You don't. But that's not to say that your problems aren't valid. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just an awful way to think about it. But it's been my go-to for so many years, because I'm like, the investment and everything else to start really researching mental health it's paralyzing. You know what I mean? Of like, it's just easier to be like, you don't have it that bad, shut up, rather than to be like, focus on like, no, like, let's, I'm a person too. And I need some help too. And, I know there's lots of other resources out there for mental health and where it can be more affordable, et cetera. So I don't know all of those options. And these are things that I want to get experts on this podcast to talk about more. The reason why I have this podcast is to be a resource for people of like, if you want to find therapists, you just Google it. Like, where do you start? And like, it almost feels like you're not even going to try, because you already have written in your head, it's too big of a pain in the ass. And that is, it's a valid point, but that's where I'm hoping to bring people on, like the group of therapists at Gallia Collaborative, amazing group of women. And like, they're just, they deal with so many of the issues that I deal with, is why, I've had Ashley Solomon on the podcast multiple times of, body image issues and issues with food and et cetera. So there's one resource right there, but I really do want to dig more into this, because especially after this year, so many people are in such a dark place, and it's like, not all of us can climb out of it alone. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've been this really strong person that I've been able to do things without, or with minimal help, and then it's like, I can't lift this one on my own. And I know I'm not the only person having that issue this year. So, and I will say it's incredibly helpful to have those people to talk to. And so far, I can't really speak a ton after being on antidepressants. I'm on Wellbutrin, and I can tell just in the small amount of time, just a few weeks that I've been on that I can see a difference. And it's pretty much exactly kind of what I was expecting, and kind of what I guess I was wanting, and what the series of doctors told me what to look for was, it's not going to be like, bam, I feel awesome, I'm going to run the world, like that caffeine high I'm like always chasing. It's not that. It's just that, just kind of the clouds part a little bit, and things get a little bit brighter, and I enjoy doing things again. And I will say, again, like, I'm not advocating medications or drugs or anything like that. I'm just sharing my experience that I've had a few days that, maybe I will cry, because I have such a hard problem with self-love. I'm really terrible at that. I listen to a lot of Brené Brown, and I try, man, but I am a full-blown asshole to myself. I am so mean to myself, so mean. And I have a real hard time with that. And I will say there's been a few days in the past couple of weeks where some of these things that felt like everything just went black or gray to me started coming back, of just like, because I love going for walks, of like going for a walk and just having that good feeling again. Again, it's not like this, hey, I'm exercising and I'm like beating my body, of just like the enjoyment of going for a walk. It's just a life simple pleasure of having that back. Another very simple, small thing is, I've been drinking a lot of lemon water. I go in phases of drinking lemon water. And just when you get like the right perfect ratio of like lemon to water, it's like chef's kiss. Like, again, those really small things in life. And like when I do that, I'm like, that's the stuff right there. And I'm like, these are like little glimmers of me. They're like, this is how I've, just how I normally operate, that's been gone for months, and it's coming back. And I'm like, or just even do something to make myself laugh. Like I crack myself up all the time. And so to just kind of have those feelings back of like, I'm my own best friend, sort of like, just, dance party in my car sort of thing of like, I'm like, oh my God, I really missed me. I'm like, oh, I really love these parts of me. And that's something I wasn't expecting from this experience. Again, just, when bad things happen, it makes you appreciate the good even more. And it's having some of the parts of me come back that I didn't even realize how much I loved I don't know. It's really cool. I'm like, it's making me appreciate me and the little things about me that they're kind of turned back on, and they're not major things. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm going to win an award or an achievement or put it on my LinkedIn page that I've made the perfect lemon water ratio. But it's just like those little things, you know what I mean? Of like your favorite pair of fuzzy socks or your favorite pair of jammy pants or something. It's just like those little things where you're like, that's it. And so to have those coming back, the color coming back to these little things in my life, I'm like, oh, it just makes me appreciate me and my life so much. And it really just highlighted how what a dark place I've been in, that I couldn't even see these things at all. And so I feel like that's a combination of a lot of things, not just being on medication, but like I mentioned in that other podcast, of really being vulnerable and asking for help, and having I feel the weight off of my shoulders of asking people for help and receiving that help has felt really good. I'm not saying I still don't have bad days. I had a terrible night last night that I was crying and in a dark place again. So it's not like that it goes away. Again, it's not like life is all of a sudden just like only awesome stuff. You know what I mean? But, really leaning into the process of therapy and being open to trying a medication is in talking about it right now is a vulnerable place for me. And it's leaning in and asking for help, for asking my friend Sarah with Sarah D Fit With Me to be my health coach for a little bit, and just so I can have someone to lean on of just like, I know I just have like a buddy. I have somebody, a partner in crime. And, one of the things I talked about is so much of my weight loss journey was just alone. And I created this podcast because I didn't want anybody else to feel like they had to go through it alone. And I've just been in a dark place. So to have somebody I can lean in on and, help me through that process and take some of the, just the overthinking out of things, and just kind of, letting me simplify my system has been so great. I also do want to say I'm down 6 inches in the past month working with Sarah. So that's been awesome. People like Shelly at Chilates she's so incredibly supportive of me. And for me being in pain for most of the year with this like sciatica stuff, and like being able to go in and do Pilates and be vulnerable of like, this is something that I don't know how to do, and, learning how to do something. And what I've learned too, I am not really great at being a beginner of anything. I get really frustrated. It's hard for me to get past that hump to like where I don't feel stupid anymore. I get a real problem with that with everything, and it's just working through it. And there's been times where I've been doing Pilates where I'm like, I'm so stupid, I don't understand this and I'm like, I feel that rage start to bubble up. I'm like, what's wrong with you? And I'm ready to like be so pissed at myself. And to like just let it go and lean into the process, and know that I have people that aren't judging me, that aren't just kind of like, oh, Amanda can't pick this up, dummy. Of like, no, of just incredibly supportive. I'm getting an awesome exercise when I'm going in there. I mean, Pilates kicks your ass. And so, knowing that I can go in and do Pilates with Shelly, and knowing that if we get shut down again or whatever, she's got virtual classes, which typically aren't my thing, but again, I trust someone and I will ask for help to like learn how to do that. And also Josh at my gym, Cincy 360 Fitness, who me and him have had some discussions. We've got some stuff in the works too of just being like, I need help and can you help me with this? I feel like the process of really leaning in and being vulnerable of like, I need help right now. And I would please help me of opening up to that and trying all of these other things, just like the exercise, the meditation, the therapy, and now trying the medication. I just think that everything all together is, making a dent. It's making things better. 'Cause it's one of those things of like, I want to work on this. I want to figure this out. I know it's not a forever solution, but it's, or at least a not immediate solution, but to have some of that brain fog lifted, to have less really dark thoughts, to, just even, just a little bit of break of that it's been awesome. And I feel like I finally feel, after just, months of this, of just reinvigorated on days like today and motivated and, just thinking of like, again, of like, not why am I going through this, of like, what is this teaching me about me? Like, what is this teaching me about loving myself more and the things that I take for granted about myself? And just the appreciation of everyone around me and just having so much gratitude towards that. And also, what else can I do with going through this experience that I can put helpful tools on this podcast about? I know this is just me rambling about my own story right now, but I really do want to talk to more people that have resources and solutions. And, this is something that, people have been dealing with for a very long time. And, mental health has been a discussion for as long as I can remember. And especially now this year and going through quarantine and pandemic and political stuff and just everything going on in the world and just, drama and friend and family breakups over disagreements and just difference in pace of working from home, whether you are a healthcare worker, which my God, what an awful year healthcare workers have had. And oh my God, my heart just goes out to healthcare workers. And just you think you're essential workers too, people that have flipped to working at home and just the mental things that happen with that it's been a very mentally taxing year for, I would guess, almost everybody, you know what I mean? And like, we're all going to behave in different ways. And I saw so many people that commented on a poll I put on Instagram that said that they've done some really great things this year, which I have a podcast coming out soon about all the awesome things that happened in COVID, of like, so many people have lost weight or started running or, had a baby and bought a house and, got their doctorate. I mean, like, just some like insane stuff. Like, there's so many like cool, powerful things that have happened this year. And there's a lot to be grateful for, but not every day can you look past the garbage happening and see those great things. So, I just really want to take this as an opportunity to not only grow for myself, but to, grow, in this podcast of how can I help from this experience. And, it's been a weird year, man. Oh man. But I hope that me sharing this is helpful. At least in any fact, if anybody listening to this, that you don't feel like you're going through this alone. And I know everybody is handling everything so differently. And some people are crushing it this year, like I just brought up, and some people are just completely falling apart. And it's not that one person is better than the other, one person's stronger than the other. We're all completely different humans and we handle things differently and we all have very different life circumstances. And to beat yourself up over how you're handling it versus somebody else, I think is like, you know, I catch myself starting to do that, and that is not fair at all. Like, that's not, I mean, just like you talk about somebody's weight loss journey of like, they lost weight doing this way and I didn't, like, or they lost weight doing keto, but I didn't. Like, why not? Like, why didn't it work for me? I must suck at this. Like, no, just people have different tastes and different bodies. You know, it's just like how we're all going to deal with everything happening in the world right now is completely different. Or, you know, somebody else that has depression is dealing with it in a different way than I have. And I feel also very lucky that I'm already feeling some more positive results from the work that I've been doing. I mean, it's been a relatively short timeline within this year of me kind of really kind of rocket sledding to a bad place, because I feel like I had a pretty good handle on things earlier this year, and it just felt like it just climbed up on top of me, and it overtook me. And I know so many other people spend a lot of time in very dark places, and it takes a lot of time and work to get out of them. So again, I feel incredibly fortunate for my situation, and I also want to use that as a point of, if you are feeling this way and you're listening to this, to also not expect the same results that I have, because I am a different person and I'm handling things differently. It freaks me out a little bit to take antidepressants. Like, I'm usually just a vitamin person. I've never really been on any other medication. So it's not something I personally would like to be on forever. But if it's something that I need, then that's you know, I'm going to go with the flow. I'm going to ride with the current here and see how that goes. And that's where I'm just trying to be in a place of now, of like baby steps. Like, let's just look at the day ahead, and that's it. And I was even having a discussion about some things that I'll get to in later episodes here in the next couple weeks, of some plans of some things that I'm putting into motion to hopefully kind of launch for the beginning of 2021. And I was asked, like, what's your long-term goal? What's the thing here? Like, where do you want to be? And I'm like, I don't know. All I know is step one. I'm trying to stick with step one and not be like, you know, and I think that is just another fair comparison to a weight loss journey. Instead of be like, I want to lose 100 pounds, be like, you know what? I'm just going to drink more water every day. Step one, maybe not drink as many Red Bulls or Monsters, and drink a little bit more water. And then we'll see where we go from there. One step at a time, and not be like, yeah, I'm going to lose 100 pounds in 6 months. Which, by the way, oh my God, I was just at the store, and I never buy the magazines, but I just like read them because the lines now are hella long at Kroger. And so I have plenty of time just to look at the front pages of these magazines. And I can't remember what it was. It's like Women's Day or one of those ones. It's like, this thing had to just come out this week. And it's like, lose 45 pounds by Christmas. I'm like, what? What are you going to like saw a leg off? Like 45 pounds in a month? That, oh my God. That is not safe, P.S. That is, I don't even know if you are just cranking nothing but like diet pill speed and eating ice cubes. I don't even know if you could drop 45 pounds in a month. But anyway, tangent squirrel. You know what I mean? Baby steps, one step at a time. So I just wanted to say that's where I'm at right now. I just kind of wanted to give an update. And again, thank you so much to everyone that reached out, either in a DM or an email or a letter in the mail or gifts at my store step, which was so unexpected. But I just, you know, I feel very loved, and that is an awesome feeling. And so thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that so much. And I appreciate you listening to me talk about these things here on this podcast. And I do it just because I think it's important. It's part of the process. And, you know, it just also, when you think of the whole health, wellness, weight loss journey sort of thing, to be like, as much as you just kind of want to maintain and coast forever, that is not life. Like, even when you feel like, I got this down, baby, I've been doing this like 9 years, man, of like, I got this. And then to be like, no, you don't. And when stuff comes up and things, you know, it's just, you can't predict it. And it's just, hopefully you've got a good, you know, base foundation built in you, and a good system around you that you can support yourself through an unexpected, hard, heavy storm. So, you know, it's just also been, I think, again, I think that I'm thinking of the positive sides for my own personal health and wellness and weight loss journey. It's been a good year, I think, for that, even though if you would have asked me a couple of weeks ago, I would have been like, this is awful. And again, I'm seeing it with a little bit more color in the world and a little bit sunshine shined on it now. It's because it's just real, and I've gained some weight back, and it happens. It doesn't mean I suck. It doesn't mean that what I have to say isn't worthy, or the knowledge I have isn't worthy. It means is that I've had a really hard year, and I reverted back to some disordered eating stuff, and like it happens. And hopefully I can use this to help even more people. You know what I mean? Of like, I'm not just like an Instagram, whatever, health and fitness coach or whatever. Not to knock on all of our people on Instagram. You know what I'm talking about. The people that are just like, just slapping that stuff up there. But it's like I've lived this. I am living this. Like, it's like I fully understand how hard things are, and I totally get it. And I feel like going through this year, in all aspects, just makes me stronger. I think it just really does. And again, it just puts me in a place where I can just, you know, try to just walk the walk that I'm living, and not hide behind it and act like, you know, here's my abs and I've got this all figured out. Of like, life's tough, and sometimes I have abs and sometimes I don't. And that's life, and that's real. And let me show you what I'm learning from this. And, you know, if you go back and listen to, oh my God, over 600 freaking episodes of this podcast, my God, that when I started this podcast, I was in the best place that I'd ever been. It was like, I was, before I started burning out. But you can go back and listen where, you know, I'm just kind of like, I'm rocking and rolling, dude. Like, my gym routine is awesome. I am not in pain. I didn't have, my knee issues didn't really fully kick in yet. I was just at the beginning of my knee issues, but it was just like, you know, I was in a different place 3 years ago when I started this podcast, and I've tried to be, you know, as open about my experience in the past 3 years as possible. There's ebbs and flows and ups and downs, and I've gone through some really major life changes, ones that were, you know, by my own choice, and other ones that aren't, and how you get through that. And, you know, and yeah, I just, I hope that that's helpful to give a realistic, real-time sort of approach to where I am, and to really show that there are seasons to living a healthy life, especially if you've battled with weight, that, you know, that it's not a problem that it just goes away forever. You know what I mean? It's just like, if you've had to go through, or you're working on a massive sort of weight loss, there's so many mental things that go into that, you know, you just live with in different ways forever. And I feel like that it ebbs and flows and absolutely changes. And it's never just a before and after picture of like, this is where I was then, and this is exactly who I am now. The end of like, no, you're obviously always changing and ebb and flowing, and have different, the more you know, or the more you live, the more you learn. And that, you know, you've I think I brought this up on some other podcast. I don't even know which one, but I kind of just see myself as a forever student, or student of life. And I think that it's a good way to frame things, especially on a health and weight loss journey especially if you hit maintenance. And then it's like, but you're forever learning, and you're still tweaking, and you can see like, okay, well, am I a place of doing intuitive eating and just being left to my own devices? And you are great. And like I feel like I've been able to do that for a few years now. And then stuff hits, and I'm like, you know what? I need to go to a stricter plan right now. I need that right now. And it doesn't mean that I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It doesn't mean that erases all of the success I've had before. It just means that that's where I'm at right now. We need to be really meticulous about things for a little bit, and then I can get back into a place where things are more chill again. And I think that that's how this journey looks. You'll go through phases of how you just operate and do things, and one exact way is not the way you're going to live forever. And I guess that's all I have to say about that right now. I feel like I'm rambling. So again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. You have no idea. And you can always reach out to me. My email is amanda@amandavalentinbites.com. You can always shoot me a DM on Instagram @YouCompoundThis. And I guess that's it. I'll keep you guys posted with how I'm doing, though, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's just how I'm feeling today, and I'm sure tomorrow will be different. But I appreciate you joining this journey with me, and hopefully I can support you as much as you've supported me. So again, thank you. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Wait a minute. I lied. I'm not done yet. I do have to also give a very big thank you to Shay, who is on my podcast every Friday sharing her weight loss journey and where she's at this year. And Shay/Shannon has been extremely helpful to me and a very good friend. And I do want to make sure I thank Shannon/Shay too, for being there for me, being very appreciative, and then also, being willing to share her struggles on this podcast with me every week too, and be vulnerable and open up is just absolutely amazing. And again, to bring gratitude of how thankful I am of the people in my life. I'm super grateful for Shannon/Shay. Had to call her Shay because last year we followed another Shannon's weight loss journey. And so it's like confusing because it's Shannon, but I have to call her Shay on the podcast. So I didn't want to go through this podcast without saying a huge thank you to her, because she's been a huge support and a huge help and been amazing this year. And I know that a lot of you listen to her episodes too and really like just us kind of BSing those episodes. So, I mean, it's really fun for me because I just like just having those open conversations rather than always just doing an interview. So I'm so appreciative for those episodes, and I hope that, you enjoy them too. But again, I didn't want to do this podcast without thanking her because she's been incredible. And I wanted to make sure I said thank you. And I know I'm sure I'm missing a lot of other people too. I probably should just make a list of thank yous. And also my husband's been a huge support and help. I had somebody reach out to me. They're like, "Was your husband not helping you?" Yes, he's helping me a lot. My husband has been great. He does not listen to this podcast. So I forget to throw the thank yous his way, because he knows how grateful I am, and he's had to deal with, I'm a handful anyway on my best days. And he's been around me for 16 years now, so he has literally seen it all, but he has been also very incredible, very helpful this year, very supportive, and has seen me in some very dark places, and again, was nothing but supportive. So also thank you to my husband, Mike, even though he won't hear this. Thank you. I showed him some gratitude by buying him some little Debbie Christmas trees today. So those are the little tokens of appreciation. Obviously I tell him thank you, and he knows how appreciative I am. I just don't really dive into that in this podcast a lot, but yeah. Anywho, now I'm really ending the podcast. Okay, bye.